It's time for news light here on Luntha Television with me, Charity Chilanka. First, let's have a look at the top stories. Pope Leo XIV to lead worldwide Rosary for Peace in Vatican Gardens. The Malawi Economic Justice Network calls for transparency and fiscal discipline ahead of International Monetary Fund talks. Government calls for improved coordination and implementation of menstrual hygiene policies to address challenges facing women and girls. And in our special report this week, Patrick Pupa examines efforts by the Malawi Girl Guides Association to empower survivors of gender-based violence through life skills training, financial support and confidence-building initiatives aimed at restoring self-reliance. We do have the details to these and many other stories. Stay tuned. Pope Leo XIV will preside over the recitation of the Holy Rosary for Peace in the world on Saturday, May 13th at the Grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes in the Vatican Gardens as he continues his repeated appeals for an end to war and violences across the globe. The prayer, scheduled for 7 p.m. at the conclusion of the Marian month, will gather the faithful in Rome and unite Catholic shrines and communities worldwide in a single act of intercession for peace. We have a Vatican News report read in our studios by Emmanuel Georgia.
The initiative, promoted by the Discarity for Evangelization section for fundamental questions regarding evangelization in the world, reflects Pope Leo's consistency, emphasizing on prayer as a response to global conflict throughout his pontificate. The Holy Father will pray the joyful mysteries of the Rosary, with each decade dedicated to specific intentions for those affected by the war and violence, entrusting them to the maternal intercession of Mary, Queen of Peace. The first mystery will be offered for victims of war, especially the most vulnerable. The second will be prayed for those who bring word of hope and the consolation of faith to populations affected by the conflict. The third mystery will be dedicated to medical and paramedical personnel, as well as volunteers who provide humanitarian assistance to those suffering in war zones. The fourth will be remembered for those who endure violence, including prisoners and all who experience violation of human dignity. The third and the final joyful mystery will be offered for the end of the war and the establishment of lasting peace in the world. The Holy Father's prayer will be joined by the faithful and pilgrims in Rome, who will be able to participate from St. Peter's Square through the large screens installed in the area. Several major Marians and pilgrimage shrines around the world have confirmed their participation in the initiative, including Shrine of Mother of God in Zafanazia, Ukraine, the International Shrine of Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage in Antipolo, Philippines, the Shrine of Our Lady of the Rosary in Fatima, Portugal, the Shrine of Our Lady of Queen of Peace in Međimurje, Bosnia, and Hezanovia, the Shrine of Our Lady of Lourdes in Rhodes, France, the Shrine of St. Charbel in Anya, Lebanon, and the Pontifical Shrine of the Holy House of Roleto in Roleto, Italy. Through these worldwide moments of prayer, Pope Leo continues to invite the Church to entrust humanity's suffering and hope to God, seeking the gift of lasting peace for all people.
The Malawi Economic Justice Network MEGIN has urged the government to prioritize transparency, fiscal discipline and accountability as it prepares for fresh talks with the International Monetary Fund (IMF) on the Extended Credit Facility (CF), scheduled for June 9th to 18th. MEGIN Executive Director Bertha Ribi Papeli made the remarks ahead of the scheduled discussions between the Malawi government and IMF representatives next month. More details in this report are filed by Gift Kalonga.
Lipipa said government must provide clear evidence of progress in managing the fiscal deficit, improving tax revenue collection, and controlling public expenditure during the negotiations with the IMF. She also stressed the need for authorities to strengthen governance and public financial management systems while addressing foreign exchange challenges, inflation, and the accumulation of arrears in various sectors of the economy.
It is recorded that the last ECF expired in May 2025, and that according to records again, the completion of the review did not happen. It expired last year, but the review process was never concluded, and we appreciated that. And so the chance to meet government this time around, the coming meeting, should really tighten one or two things that needs to be checked upon.
Economics Association of Malawi, ECAMA President Dr. Betha Chikadza Bangara said Malawi should focus on implementing practical economic reforms and ensure that public resources are directed towards productive investments capable of improving the country's economic performance.
I think the key issue this time will be implementation of the reforms. I remember the last time when we were quoting the program, we talked about, I think the IMF brought about the Article 4 recommendations, and these were things that as a country we could fix. And I'm sure as the IMF is coming, it means it has seen that there are efforts.
IMF representatives and the Malawi government are scheduled to meet for 9 to 18 June to discuss the Extended Credit Facility, ECF, at a time when the country is facing significant economic challenges. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
Deputy Director of Sanitation in the Ministry of Water and Sanitation, Matthews Kalaya, has called for improved coordination and implementation of menstrual hygiene policies to address challenges affecting girls and women in the country. Kalaya made the remarks during Menstrual Health Day commemorations organized by AIDS Healthcare Foundation, AHF, in collaboration with the Wash Media Forum and the Ministry of Health. More details in this report are read in our studios by Patrick Pooper.
Speaking during the event, Kalaya said the government is strengthening coordination through the Water and Sanitation Working Group to improve access to menstrual hygiene services across the country. He said government is also prioritizing expanded access to water by 2030 while encouraging effective utilization of Constituency Development Fund resources to improve sanitation facilities in schools and communities.
Yeah, you should be aware that now the ministry has put the issues of sanitation and hygiene high on the agenda of national development. There is now a special department responsible for promotion of sanitation and hygiene in the country. So one of the issues within promoting sanitation and hygiene is the issue of menstrual hygiene. So it's an area which, as a country, we are still not far in terms of the ideal situation, because for menstrual hygiene to be possible, we need the facilities that are needed. For example, if you are talking of menstrual hygiene in the schools, it means we need all schools to have safe water supply, adequate safe water supply for girls to use when they are menstruating.
AHF Country Program Manager Triza Kakobehara said there is need for stronger multi-sectoral collaboration to address gaps in sanitation facilities and coordination among stakeholders working in menstrual health.
A bigger percentage of the resources that we use, they come from donors. But when it comes to domestic funding, it's not adequate. And that is the reason why even issues to do with the menstrual hygiene, they are also impacted, because the resources that are available, they are not adequate to address all the existing gaps. Looking at how many schools in Malawi have sanitation facilities.
A girl representative, Tadala Banda, expressed concern over lack of water in schools, high prices of sanitary products, and poor sanitation facilities, saying the challenges continue to affect girls' dignity and school attendance.
Napanga kwa dress zizi last year tinayankhula kuzuri kwabiwa mange ku matoileti changing rooms ndi abange supply madzi nemadzi alipo koma abange zuri akhala government aulere masizina theke and napa pamphako zuri mapad bange dispute mapad maskulu pananguluka pa news zuri mapad agawa koma sinamveko skulu yankha zuri pabwera bungu zuri mapad.
Stakeholders at the meeting agreed on key interventions, including promoting local production of sanitary products, reviewing taxes on menstrual hygiene materials, improving sanitation facilities in schools, and scaling up sustainable menstrual health solutions such as menstrual cups. The meeting ended with a call for stronger accountability and clear timelines in implementing menstrual health interventions to ensure no girl misses school because of menstruation.
The National Oil Company of Malawi, NOCMA, has dismissed claims by the Transporters Association of Malawi, TAM, that it is sidelining Malawian fuel transporters in favor of foreign operators, saying local companies remain central to its logistics operations. NOCMA spokesperson Raymond Likambale told Luntha Television on Friday that it is surprised by the allegations and maintains that Malawian transporters continue to play a key role in moving fuel into the country through various corridors. Alison Banda with the details.
To NOCMA spokesperson Raymond Likambale, about 220 fuel tankers were engaged in transporting fuel from Mozambican ports in May alone, while additional 124 tankers operated along the northern corridor. He added that NOCMA works closely with recognized Transporters Association when allocating fuel haulage contracts, and when fuel becomes available at loading ports, the relevant associations are engaged to nominate trucks for operations, meaning the final selection of transporters is based on the list submitted by those associations themselves.
We would want some clarity because we also are surprised. I can tell you that this month alone, for example, 100% of the tankers that are flying the Mozambican route are Malawian. As we speak, just May alone, a total of around 220 trucks have been hauling fuel from Nakala and Beira. And over 125 trucks have gone the Northern Corridor route.
Meanwhile, Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority, MERA, says that as of now, 55 Malawian tankers are currently operating from Tanga, transporting fuel into Malawi. MERA further noted that Malawian-owned tankers, they are 65% of total haulage. NOCMA has also encouraged tankers who are not yet affiliated with any transportation association to join one, saying this will improve coordination and participation in fuel transportation operations.
You're watching news on Luntha Television. We'll be back after this short break.
Kulipia school fees kwa kupheka tsopano. Listen to fees by Airtel Money. Mutha kulipia school fees mosavuta kudzera pa foni yanu. Tsatirani ndondomeko zotsatirazi. Choyamba, imbani *211#. Pamene yomwe mutapatsidwe, sankhani 8 kuti mulipire fees. Pitirizani posankha 1 yomwe ndi safety fees. Kenako mudzafunsidwa kuti mulowetse admissions number. Kuchoka hapo mudzaona skulu yomwe mukufuna kulipira komanso dzina la ophunzira. Onetsetsani kuti zonse ndizolondola. Pitirirani ndi kuyika ndalama zomwe mukufuna kulipira. Lembani pini yanu ya Airtel Money kuti muvomereze kulipira. Ndipo nthawi yomweyo mudzalandira SMS yotsimikiza kuti zatheka.
If you've just joined us, know that it's time for news right here on Luntha Television. Now a reminder of the top stories before we proceed. Pope the 14th to lead worldwide Rosary for Peace in Vatican Gardens. The Malawi Economic Justice Network calls for transparency and fiscal discipline ahead of International Monetary Fund talks. Government calls for improved coordination and implementation of menstrual hygiene policies to address challenges facing women and girls. And in our special report this week, Patrick Pupa examines efforts by the Malawi Girl Guides Association to empower survivors of gender-based violence through life skills training, financial support and confidence-building initiatives aimed at restoring self-reliance. Moving on with the news, India's High Commissioner to Malawi, His Excellency Amararam Guja, has reaffirmed his country's commitment to supporting Malawi's development and humanitarian response efforts following the donation of 500 metric tons of rice to the country. Guja handed over the donation to Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. George Chichaponda, during a ceremony held at NFRA offices in Kanengo, Lilongwe on Thursday. More details in this report followed by Tandewe Mzumara.
Speaking during the handover, Gujar said the donation reflects the long-standing friendship between Malawi and India and underscored the need to strengthen cooperation in areas aligned with the Malawi 2063 development agenda.
When Honorable President of the Republic of Malawi, His Excellency Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, made an appeal to the international donor partner countries in the month of October after the declaration of the disaster in 28 districts. So Government of India positively responded to the appeal.
In his remarks, Minister of Foreign Affairs George Chichaponda thanked the Government of India for the support, describing it as a reflection of the strong relations between the two countries and saying the aid will help vulnerable Malawians affected by the disaster. He thanked the government and people of India on behalf of President Mutharika and Malawians at large, noting that the assistance would complement government efforts to assist vulnerable communities affected by the disaster. Dr. Chichaponda further emphasized Malawi's commitment to enhancing cooperation with India in various sectors aimed at fostering economic growth, resilience, and sustainable development.
They have responded to the call which was made by His Excellency the President. If nothing happened, then the lives of 4 million people would be affected, and called upon the international community to respond. We are therefore happy that this donation has come, and for us as a government, we say thank you. We know that this donation will go towards the most affected people, the vulnerable groups.
Forms part of a 1,000 metric ton rice pledge made by India following President Professor Peter Mutharika's appeal for international assistance. For Luntha News, this is Tandiwe Mzumara.
The Gender and Justice Unit has entered into a memorandum of understanding with several key partners aimed at improving access to justice services for survivors of gender-based violence across the country. Speaking at the signing ceremony, Executive Director Salai Jesala Tembo for Saidi Partnerships will support the implementation of Empower Line Press project, which will be rolled out in 11 districts with funding from the Irene M. Stahelin Foundation. Adam Zumunelpembe has more details in this report.
Gender-based violence remains one of the major challenges affecting women and girls in Malawi, with many survivors struggling to access legal support and justice services. To address the problem, the Gender and Justice Unit has partnered with several institutions, including the Women Judges Association of Malawi, Legal Aid Bureau, Nice Trust, Trust PSS, and Malawi Police FM. According to the founder and executive director of the Gender and Justice Unit, Sarai Sarah Temple-Hoff, the project seeks to close the justice gap by delivering simplified legal information through digital platforms and mobile courts, with a particular focus on women and survivors of gender-based violence.
So women face extreme challenges in accessing justice, including stigma, but a lot of it is a lack of access to information, legal information, in simplified ways and in languages that they understand. This is a reality not just for women, but for many of Malawi's population across the country. Our programming brings justice closer to people. We have seen that that gap is not just in terms of where you can access justice, but whether you can understand it, whether you can afford it.
Executive member of the Women Judges Association of Malawi, Justice Fiona Mwale, said under the partnership, the association will continue operating mobile courts to help victims in remote areas access justice without traveling long distances.
We have was about mostly the Empower Line, which is a line where people can get free information. But where it comes to the women judges, which is what we call mobile courts or camp courts. So this is where the courts are able to go to places where courts would not ordinarily sit, where there is a long distance between that particular village and the court.
Legal Aid Bureau Director Chimwemwe Chitope Mwale says they will provide legal representation and legal advice to survivors under tribunals in line with their mandate.
Under the memorandum of understanding that we have executed today, we are supposed to provide legal advice, legal assistance, and legal representation in courts and tribunals. And this is in line with the mandate that the Legal Act grants the Legal Aid Bureau.
The project will be implemented for 3 years in 11 districts in the country. For Luntha News, this is Adams Mwenepembe.
Finally, gender-based violence remains one of Malawi's most persistent social challenges, particularly in rural communities, where poverty, fear, and limited access to support services continue to trap many women in abusive relationships. Nchisi is among the districts recording warning cases of gender-based violence, with survivors often struggling to rebuild their lives after enduring prolonged abuse and economic dependence. But amid the challenges, initiatives aimed at empowering survivors are beginning to restore hope and confidence among affected women. In our special report this week, Patrick Pupa explores how the Malawi Girl Guides Association MAGA is equipping survivors of gender-based violence with life skills, financial knowledge, and empowerment opportunities designed to help them regain independence and rebuild their lives. Let's watch.
Amalingulira lingu lingu alingu amalingulira lingu tizikomera amalingulira ndio.
For many women living in Malawi's rural communities, home has become a place of fear rather than protection. Behind closed doors, countless survivors of gender-based violence continue to suffer in silence, constrained by poverty, intimidation, and lack of economic independence. In Nchisi district, where cases of abuse remain a major concern, some survivors are now finding renewed hope through empowerment initiatives aimed at restoring dignity, confidence, and self-reliance. Through trainings being implemented by the Malawi Girl Guides Association MAGA, survivors are now being equipped with financial literacy skills, business knowledge, and psychosocial support intended to help them break free from cycles of abuse. Some of the survivors who participated in the program say economic dependence on abusive partners forced many women to remain silent for years despite repeated violence and emotional suffering.
I had nowhere to go and no source of income. Every time I thought of leaving, I worried about how I would feed my children. This training has opened my mind, and now I believe I can start a small business and support my family on my own.
Another survivor, Lisdet Masani, says fear of stigma and rejection continue to discourage many women in rural areas from reporting abuse or seeking help. She explains that casual expectations and societal pressure often force women to endure violence in silence, even when their safety is at risk.
People always tell women to endure suffering in marriage. Some survivors are mocked when they report abuse, but through this training, we have learned that violence is not normal and that women deserve protection and respect.
Traditional leaders in Nchisi have since welcomed the initiative, describing it as an important intervention in addressing rising cases of violence against women and girls. Senior Chief Chiroko says chiefs have a responsibility to protect vulnerable members of society and ensure women and girls live in safe environments free from abuse. He further says community leaders are encouraging survivors to report cases of violence without fear, while urging men to respect the rights of women.
Gender-based violence is destroying families and affecting development in our communities. As chiefs, we are committed to working with organizations like MAGA to ensure that women and girls live in safe environments.
Community Development Assistant in Nchisi, Alfred Mtabaonga, has also commended MAGA for introducing the program, saying many women continue to suffer abuse in silence because of poverty and dependence. According to Mtabaonga, economic empowerment remains one of the key tools in helping survivors rebuild their lives and escape violent relationships.
Good training, building capacity on, as well as businessmen will be able to run their businesses so that they can do something better. We're still trying at the same time capacity of those help them so that economically.
MAGA Project Officer Jonas Chisari says the organizations remains committed to ending all forms of violence against women and girls through empowerment interventions that promote dignity, independence, and resilience among survivors. He says many women fail to leave abusive homes because they lack financial support and opportunities to sustain themselves and their children.
The aim is to empower them financially so that they can be able to live like anyone, to have financial muscle so that they can be able to support their dependent. As you have seen, most of the participants, they have kids, and their age is not as old as 18. Most of them are under 18, but still they have kids. So for them and their kids to have a bright future, they need to have support financially. So our aim is to support them so that they can be able to support their kids.
Social commentator Lake Mbewe says while awareness on gender-based violence has improved over the years, many survivors still lack access to sustainable economic opportunities and psychosocial support systems. Mbewe stresses that long-term empowerment initiatives are critical in helping survivors overcome abuse and regain confidence within their communities.
That indeed Malawi is registering quite a high number of cases with regards to gender-based violence. And this is happening at a time when a number of efforts are being implemented in as far as ensuring ending the vice is concerned. It is very worrisome to note that such kind of cases are very high, especially in districts like Dowa, Nchisi, among other districts. Like also, if you go to Machinga, where as the Center for Youth Empowerment and Civic Education, CSA is also implementing.
While gender-based violence continue to affect many families across Malawi, initiatives such as those being championed by MAGA are offering survivors a renewed sense of hope, independence, and opportunity to rebuild their lives. MAGA is implementing the initiative with financial support from NCA and DCA as part of broader efforts aimed at reducing gender-based violence and promoting women's empowerment in Malawi.
Report followed by Patrick Pupa also brings us to the end of our today's bulletin, but let's have a recap of the top stories before we go. Popularly the 14th to lead worldwide Rosary for Peace in Vatican Gardens. The Malawi Economic Justice Network calls for transparency and fiscal discipline ahead of International Monetary Fund talks. Government calls for improved coordination and implementation of menstrual hygiene policies to address challenges facing women and girls. And in our special report this week, Patrick Pupa examines efforts by the Malawi Girl Guides Association to empower survivors of gender-based violence through life skills training, financial support, and confidence-building initiatives aimed at restoring self-reliance. You've been with me, Charity Chilanga. Thanks so much for giving me company, and continue enjoying the rest of our programs right here on Luntha Television. Have a lovely weekend.